The Wayne County Commission Committee on Ways and Means meeting will now come to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Scott. Commissioner Baker McCormick. Commissioner Marecki.
Here.
Commissioner Clementi.
Here.
Commissioner Anderson.
Here.
Vice Chair Bajun has requested an excuse. Chair Kinlock.
Present.
We have a quorum present.
Thank you. Next item.
Item B, Chair's remarks.
I have none. Next item.
Moving to item C, approval of the minutes from the December 19th, 2024 meeting.
Move approval.
Moved by Anderson, supported by Clemente. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, this item stands approved. Next item.
Item D, unfinished business. There is none listed. Moving to item E, number 1, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2025 35016, reallocating expenditures in the general fund.
Any questions associated with this item? Any questions associated with this item? We'll take all of the items, we'll take all of the actions as one item, as one action at the end of the agenda. Madam Clerk, next item.
Item 2, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2024 35257, certifying revenue in the general fund.
Who's here to speak to this?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. William Chuck Jackson, Department Director, Wayne County Senior Services.
Can you just give a general overview, please?
General overview is we have provided during the last fiscal year 864,000 plus meals to our seniors, both halal, home delivered, and congregate meals. And this additional funding is primarily to prevent a wait list, which would be quite substantial if we did not have these additional funds from the general fund.
This is great. The great work that your department does. And I know when doing the budget hearings, you were looking forward to continuing this program. Yep.
Yes, as we know, the senior population is exploding, so there are more and more, and the need is increasing. Unfortunately, the federal and state funding isn't catching up or needs to catch up with the demand.
Yes. Well, thank you. In addition, Commissioner Anderson.
Mr. Director, do you know if there's been any communication with the state legislature about trying to get that funding increased?
There has been minimal at this point. One of our big objectives in this next quarter is to really escalate that. And Meals on Wheels America, which is a national program for Meals on Wheels, is also launching a new campaign called In the Wait to really try to bring attention to the funding, the inadequate amount of funding for these services.
Yeah. So there's federal funding and state funding, correct, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Commissioner McCormick, and then Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know you were recruiting for volunteers. There was a shortage. How is that coming along?
There's still a shortage. I mean, a big part of our work is providing enough volunteers in order to be able to deliver meals. So our entire focus and department right now is to get out those 864,000 meals annually.
And how many are you short, or what's the number you would like to get to?
We'd love to get to 700 active volunteers. We have 822 registered volunteers. However, on a given day, we probably have approximately 500 that are active.
Thank you.
Let me ask you, do you have a flyer or any type of communication that you actually send out, recruiting, part of your recruiting efforts?
Yes, and we've sent those out to the commission, and we can resend them.
Would you do that?
We definitely have sent them out, and we have flyers, we have a short video. We'll make sure all that's available.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Scott, and then we'll go back to Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Doctor. Is there a waiting list?
There is no waiting list in Wayne County as of this, at least for Wayne County Meals on Wheels, which is Western Wayne and Downriver. However, there is a waiting list for Detroit residents that are served by DAAA. But our department currently does not have a wait list.
Okay, for the halal. How many halal meals do you do?
I think it's up to about 125 a week now, I believe.
Are they all over the county or
The halal meals are just in Dearborn
just in Dearborn?
currently, yes.
That's right, because you wouldn't do the ones in Hamtramck. No,
Right.
Detroit does those.
That is correct.
All right.
And I would like to point out that nationally, 1 in 3 Meals on Wheels programs has a wait list.
Wow.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for recognizing me again. I wanted to thank you too, for I know we talked before about Local 900. Were you able to connect with them? And
Yes, I was able to.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I know with a lot of retirees at their retiree meeting, I don't know if you're able to speak to them at the retiree meeting. There's a lot of people who are really looking for something to do, to give back. And I think that would be, picking up and maybe even talking to the regional director of the UAW on Telegraph Road in Taylor. She would probably be anxious to talk to you and see if they could spread that out to other locals. And
I would look forward to that opportunity. And we did recently have a article in the Wayne County retiree newsletter about our program, asking and recruiting volunteers from our Wayne County volunteers as well. So we're turning over every stone we can to try to recruit volunteers.
And I did get a copy of that and ran it in my newsletter for December. So the little ad for volunteers. I went I guess it was about September, I went with a volunteer who's a veteran himself, and he's been doing this for years, and he works at the airport for the veterans reception area at Metro Airport. And he wanted to know if I wanted to go along for a lady that was celebrating her 100th birthday. And she was just a charmer. She really was. And she lived in Livonia, and we delivered her food. And that's her only contact with the outside. I think a lot of us don't realize that that's the only outside contact many of them have that are homebound. And that they develop a relationship. But another thing that I was thinking about, if there is something that's a canned ad or something like that, a little video available, it would be great to get our local cable stations to run that, because they do it for free. They do things like that, as you probably know. And I'd love to get that and try to get it on our cable stations in my district, and maybe encourage them to pass it along.
I'll follow up on that as well.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for the good job you're doing. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you. Back to Commissioner Baker McCormick.
I just wanted to thank you too for coming out to our District 6 community meeting. I really appreciated that too. So
Well, I will say, you thank you for inviting me, and I'll say what I said. I'll go anywhere and speak to anyone on behalf of our seniors. So if you have an opportunity for me to come out and speak, just let me know, and I'll be there.
Great.
Any additional questions? Okay, Commissioner Maraki.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So these funds are actually filling the void of 2024. There's a deficit in 2024. So these funds are taking care of the deficit in 2024.
That is correct.
Okay, so for next year then, do you think you're going to have a deficit?
Yes,
Okay, about the same amount?
yes.
Okay. All right, so we just have to get that funding in there to even things out at some point.
Yes.
Thank you.
And so we are having, through the appropriate channels, conversations with the legislature as far as increasing that appropriation.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
And-
Sonia.
and a big part of it was, and part of what affected us, there was a $45 million cut in 2024 in Health and Human Services directly for nutrition for our programming. So that had a significant impact as well.
Is this the first year you had a deficit?
Every year, I won't say every year, but for several years, the county has supplemented the program primarily to avoid the wait list, but that number has been more in the 300 to 350,000 range. So this year, it's the result of, we've also seen an increase in food costs since 2019 of $1.39 per meal. That has also affected the numbers this year.
Okay, well, thank you for that. So we just got to keep our eye on that and also probably prepare a resolution calling on the legislature to and the governor to support these efforts. So in this program.
That would be wonderful.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Yes, that's what's we need to do. That the discussions are starting now, so we need to probably have a resolution drafted, in short order. At this time, Madam Clerk, any additional questions? Additional questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item number 3, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2024 35263, reallocating expenditures in the general fund.
Are there any questions associated with this item? Who's here to speak to this item? Anyone here to speak with this? Speak on this item?
Hello. Yeah, you
Yes.
can hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
we can hear
Ahmad
you. Please
Nasser.
state your name and
Yeah,
your title.
This is Ahmad Nasser, Finance Manager of Wayne County Homeland Security Emergency Management. Yeah, this budget adjustment was recommended by General Accounting to move money from other equipments to machinery and equipment. Our department originally purchased under the other equipment line, and General Accounting need to move these expenses to machinery and equipment to confirm to get GASB, which is General Accounting Board. It's a governmental accounting standard board rules. So there is no new funding in here. It's just General Accounting moving money around to meet accounting standards.
Thank you. We have a question from Commissioner Maraki.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So did this have anything to do with the city of Dearborn?
No. The city of Dearborn is we purchased something for the city of Dearborn out of this grant. So it was part of the grant. That's all.
It was part of the grant, the city
Yeah.
of Dearborn?
Yeah. What we do here is we purchase some stuff. We have certain projects for various localities under this grant. Whatever project is approved, we go ahead and we purchase it. Then we provide them with what we purchase for them. And at this point, accounting board, or actually general accounting department here, we reclassify certain items from capital asset to non-capital asset. And that's why city of Dearborn is listed in here.
Okay, so you look at the grant and then you find out what local communities can be included in some of it?
Yeah, it's all the all the 43
all, okay.
communities. Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Any additional questions? Madam Clerk, next item.
Item 4, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2024 35055, reallocating expenditures in the general fund.
Are there any questions associated with this item? Are there any questions? Madam Clerk, next item.
Item 5, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2024 35056, reallocating expenditures in the general fund.
Are there any questions? Are there any questions associated with this item? Madam Clerk, next item.
Item 6, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2025 35010, reallocating expenditures in the central services fund.
Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Madam Clerk, next item.
Item number 7, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2025 35019, reallocating expenditures in the central services fund.
Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Madam Clerk, next item.
Item 8, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2025 35011, certifying revenue in the general fund.
Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Madam Clerk, next item.
Item 9, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2025 35022, certifying revenue in the 2018 AGL Center Construction Fund.
Who is here to speak to this? Okay, can you please explain this item, and I'll entertain questions if there are.
Greg
And-
McIntyre, Deputy Budget Director, Management and Budget. Item number 9 is to properly fund expenses for CJC for 24-25.
So this is just, closing out that, the expenses that were incurred in the previous fiscal year.
This is for 24-25.
24, I mean, 25. No, you're funding this current,
Yes.
yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, and so we'll have some reconciliation and closing of some items, I guess, at the next meeting.
Yes.
That's correct. Okay, thank you. Any questions associated with this? Any questions associated with this? Okay, next item.
Item 10, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2025-35020, certifying revenue in the general fund.
Any questions? Who's here to speak to this item? Anyone here to speak to this item? Okay. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to ask is if Commissioner Marecki, that this, is someone on? No one's on?
I'll just say my
Yes,
question.
and then we'll try to have.
Yeah,
them-
I mean, this is not going to make or
Okay.
break. I'm just wondering, to cover the clerk's share of utilities at the CJC for court services, is that like something new? Did they find out what does that mean, to share the utilities?
Okay, so not only that, I have a general question in which I'm going to be meeting with the chair about, as well as with like management and budget, to explain the whole chargeback. So I'm imagining that this is some sort of chargeback.
Oh,
Okay, so I need to understand, and I would like to, from my own perspective, on self-growth, understand the whole chargeback, the formula used for chargeback, and the various ways that you, and items that you charge back to the, I guess, the departments. Yep,
Okay, so this is a chargeback. That's fine.
okay,
Thank you.
yep. Okay, and then also, like I mentioned, I mentioned briefly as it relates to item 9, but in regards to those budget amendments that's necessary to close out the previous fiscal year, staff would need those back by Wednesday so that we can, begin working on those
Tomorrow, Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
next Wednesday.
Okay. Commissioner, I will say that we will owe you another budget adjustment for the excess fund balance. We have to close the books in order for us to get going on that one. So I don't have a date for when we are going to officially close the books, but we need them closed before we can do the excess fund balance.
Okay, just keep myself, Terrence and Mary abreast of that, and the chair on, the sooner than later, yeah, because we've been have conversations regarding.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, yes, Commissioner Marecki.
No, I'm all set.
Oh, well, not but Commissioner Baker McCormick.
That's fine. It was
Yeah.
in relation to what Commissioner Marecki asked. So you are going to I guess there's a breakdown of the shares of utility. I didn't know we broke it up like in departments, but if this is a chargeback,
Yes, it
you're-
is.
it is a
Yes.
chargeback. So if you can, I'd like to know what each department
It's
is
charging back.
charging back.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, for utilities. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, are there any additional questions in regards to that? At this point, a motion is in order?
Excuse me, the chair, this is Dwayne Seals, Deputy Chief Clerk. I understand there
Okay,
was a
yeah,
question about
okay, one
item
moment. Okay, excuse me, who's speaking?
Hi there, this is Dwayne Seals, Chief Deputy Clerk. And I understand there was a question with item number 10.
Okay, yes, there was. Okay, Commissioner Marecki, would you state it for the, for, again, please?
I was just wondering with the charge of the utilities. Because sorry. Dwayne, I was just wondering about the sharing of the utilities at the CJC. I know we get lists of chargebacks, quite a few lists.
Yeah. Yes, through the
Yes.
chair, ma'am, you
But-
are correct. When I saw this budget adjustment, I was kind of thrown back by it too. But from my understanding, this is something that's a certification out of general fund. So it didn't really hit the clerk's budget, so I didn't really, I didn't question it too much. I was more concerned with the next fiscal year and making sure that was in the budget, because this is a large number that was something that we did not budget for.
Okay, so this is actually not coming out of your budget. It's coming
If
out of
I'm
general
correct-
fund. Oh, it is coming out of your budget.
No, my understanding is coming out of general fund. Is it coming out of our budget? My question, I didn't, that's a question I did have on that.
Okay, Mary,
Through the chair, Mary Carr, Deputy Director. Yes, Dwayne, it's actually coming out of your Business Unit 21510, Clerk Court Services. It's moving from other financing into operating expenses.
Well, and see, now that's, I would actually have a question. I would like to take a look, because obviously that 67,000 was not, I mean, is that a new expense, or is that something just, was it budgeted for? Because $68,000 is a huge number to come out of our budget.
Okay, so at this
I would have
point-
a question.
I'd defer to Greg.
okay,
So CJC is new, so we didn't have this expense in prior years. So all those that are operating out of CJC have to borne this chargeback expense, including the court.
so was it something that was discussed earlier as we were developing the budget, or is this something that's new to the action that's even before us today?
This is something new and supplemental to the actual budget preparation from last year.
And when with these adjustments that are going to be coming associated with these chargebacks, we've already looked into the fact that we'll have enough funds to make the necessary adjustments if necessary, if they don't already have it within those specific funds.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, okay, do you have any additional questions, sir?
No, yeah, I just want to make sure that we will take a look now, because I mean, $67,000, it is a huge, significant chunk of funds that to have just taken out of our budget that wasn't directly budgeted for. As you know, that we do have pay increases that will be coming out of that court budget as well. Our court clerks were given a significant amount of raises. I have not seen those pay increases put into our budget yet, so I am very concerned about any extra funds coming out of that budget.
Okay, let me just ask the management and budget, for these type of budget adjustments, please, because just looking at, within our records, could you please consult with those departments, at least have a conversation before it gets to the table? We know there's a necessary need, and it has, is something that is appropriate, but I guess have a conversation with them before, as well as, with our staff as you're moving these items through.
Right. We have had conversations with.
So is this his first time hearing? Because it sounds like this is his first time hearing about this.
No, there have been some conversations.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'll just, yeah.
Thank you, through the chair. I do appreciate the conversation. If we missed the conversation somehow, I'll check with my staff, but I would like to be involved with that, because that is a significant number, and it could cost the clerk to be in a deficit for that year, though. So I do appreciate that you're directing the MNB to contact us and talk with us on that subject.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Commissioner Baker
And to
McCormick.
and to that point, again, I asked about other departments and if they were clear on any chargebacks like this for utilities. I think there should be at least a breakdown in who's paying what. Because this is different and unique, and I know we just moved in, but this is different.
No, we're going to have some conversations about the broader chargebacks to, make us aware of it. So at some point, work with management and budget to bring a presentation to talk about chargeback. But there's some other outside conversations about chargebacks that's being had already. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, and with that, was a motion made? I requested one. There was not one. Okay, a motion is in order.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to receive and file, no, to full report. Okay, to approve the full report. Okay, so at this time, roll call.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Marecki, Commissioner Clementi,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Chair Kinlock,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Item F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
I know of none. Next item.
Item G, public comments.
Okay, at this time, Madam Clerk, I'd like for you to unmute the microphone, and I would like to ask anyone who is on Zoom or have joined us by telephone or any other electronic device to either raise your hand or ask to be recognized if you're interested in addressing this committee.
Chair, there are no hands on Zoom and no emails were received.
Thank you. I'd like to ask if there anyone present with us this morning who would like to address this committee? At this time, public comment is closed, and I will now recognize Mr. Terrence Adams.
Through the chair, I had actually a comment on number 10, but you guys already approved it. It was court management budget for clarification. Looking at this budget adjustment, it appears that they're giving monies to the court, to the clerk to pay for the chargebacks. So it appears that this may be holding the clerk harmless of the additional expenses, if I'm reading this correctly. And I guess Greg can confirm that or not.
Greg?
Yeah, it's certifying fund balance revenues is what it's doing to make them whole.
So yes to his question. So yeah, so to be, it would be making them whole, in other words.
Okay, yeah, this so that Mr. Seals knows. It seems like this is not affecting the clerk's budget because they're giving the money to offset the expenses. But though further conversations may need to have him looped in on things of this nature if they're not already. But for this budget adjustment, it appears that they're holding the clerk harmless by providing funds to pay for the expenses.
Mr. Seals, did you hear that? Are you still with us? Mr. Seals? Okay, well, thank you for that clarity, Terrence, and thank you, Greg, as well. Yep, okay. Okay, next item.
Item H, adjournment.
Motion is in order. It's moved and supported. All those in favor signify by saying